Boom! Imagine waking up one day and finding a wall built right through your city. Crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened in Berlin back in 1961. It was an ordinary August day when suddenly the city was cut in two by a gargantuan concrete monster. The Berlin Wall was not just a physical barrier but a symbol of political discord that sent shockwaves around the globe. So, overnight, Berlin turned from a bustling city into a divided battleground. And so began the tale of the Berlin Wall. Now this wasn't just any old wall, it was a symbol, a grim reminder of the Cold War. The Berlin Wall, a formidable structure of concrete and barbed wire, was the physical embodiment of the Iron Curtain, a metaphorical barrier that divided East and West during the Cold War. The Iron Curtain represented a world divided along ideological lines. On one side, the democratic West, with its capitalist economies and individual freedoms. On the other, the communist East, under the control of the Soviet Union. The Berlin Wall was the most tangible manifestation of this divide. Erected in the dead of night in 1961, it was more than just a barrier. It was the embodiment of an ideological war, a stark symbol of a world split in two. Life on either side of the wall was starkly different. In the West, there was freedom of speech, travel, and the promise of a better life. But in the East, under the watchful eyes of the Stasi, life was characterized by surveillance, restriction, and fear. The wall stood not just to keep Western influences out, but to keep East German citizens in. But the wall wasn't just a symbol of division, it was also a symbol of resistance and resilience. Stories of daring escapes, of tunnels dug, balloons flown, and even a car modified to slide under the wall's checkpoints testify to the indomitable human spirit, a yearning for freedom that no wall could contain. So, the Berlin Wall wasn't just a wall, it was a symbol of division and conflict, a concrete representation of an ideological war. But you know what they say, nothing lasts forever, and that was true for the Berlin Wall too. Just as this monolithic symbol of division had been erected, cracks began to form, both literally and metaphorically. Let's delve into the numerous attempts made by daring souls to cross this barrier. They were driven by a fervor for freedom, a yearning so powerful that it led them to risk everything. From tunnels dug deep beneath the wall to homemade hot air balloons soaring above, the audacity of these escapes was nothing short of cinematic. Then there were those who didn't try to escape but instead used their voices, their pens, their art to express their discontent. They stood tall against the oppressive regime, protesting in the face of real danger. This unrest was not just the rumblings of a few disgruntled individuals but a groundswell of dissatisfaction that spread among the citizens. And amidst this, the Berlin Wall, once a formidable symbol of power, began to falter. The cracks weren't just in the concrete but in the ideology that had erected it. The people's protests, their courage, their indomitable spirit were like a sledgehammer repeatedly hitting the wall, causing it to crumble bit by bit. The wall may have been formidable, but the human spirit was stronger. The cracks were starting to show. And then, in 1989, something incredible happened. The wall fell, and it fell hard. Let's rewind a bit. It all started with winds of change blowing across Europe. The iron grip of the Soviet Union was loosening, and the political landscape was shifting dramatically. In Poland, Solidarity, the first independent trade union in a Warsaw Pact country, was winning ground. Hungary started dismantling its physical border with Austria. The domino effect had begun. Back in East Germany, dissatisfaction was brewing among its citizens. They were tired of the oppressive regime, and the wall, that concrete behemoth, was the embodiment of their frustration. Protests started to break out. Thousands upon thousands of ordinary people, just like you and me, took to the streets demanding change, craving freedom. Meanwhile, the world held its breath. Would this be another violent crackdown like in '56 and '68? But this time, things were different. The East German government, feeling the heat, decided to loosen travel restrictions. The announcement wasn't supposed to be immediate, but a mix-up led to the news being broadcasted prematurely. The result? A tidal wave of people flooding the checkpoints. The guards, overwhelmed and unsure, had no choice but to let them through. And there it was. The moment the world had been waiting for. The wall was breached. Freedom rang out as pieces of the wall were chipped away. And just like that, the Berlin Wall was history, but its legacy, that lives on. A reminder of a divided past and a symbol of unity and freedom.